Okay, so next we're going to be talking about the use of Bitcoin as a medium, right? How do we actually use Bitcoin and ordinals to create different kinds of art in interesting and creative ways? So we have Billy Restey, who is a very well renowned at this point ordinals artist, who's going to be moderating this panel. And we have some very interesting artists who are going to be talking about the different ways that they use Bitcoin, including Violetta Zironi, who is actually putting original songs on Bitcoin, which is really exciting, as well as Waxbones, who is the artist behind the Ordinal tickets, for those of you who got collector tickets, and XCPinata, who is one of the earliest Ordinal artists. Yeah, really excited to introduce them.
Ordinals at Art Basel. Here we are. Bitcoin shrooms at Sotheby's. I mean, can you believe it? Can you believe it? So guys, I mean, it's been an incredible year. Congratulations for being part of history and Bitcoin's blossoming blockchain. So I kind of want to get into some of your projects, and I think we have to start with Violetta, because she is now a Taproot wizard. We're all very, very jealous. What do you say when people say there's no art on Bitcoin, or you can't put any large files on Bitcoin?
I would say that we should feel lucky that art is one of the very few things in the world that you can actually buy with Bitcoin at the moment. When you think about it, I know there are some places, right, in the world that you can buy your groceries or your coffee with Bitcoin, but not very many. Art, now music, poetry, and just things that will move culture over to Bitcoin.
So you put a full song on Bitcoin?
Yes.
So this panel is forging digital artifacts. Was that an easy feat, or can you tell us about your experience?
It was not easy. It was definitely challenging, but I love challenges. You know, the reason why I got so deep into ordinals was because of the limitations that I had, and I love to have a challenge, a puzzle to solve, and I love to get creative. I feel like this challenge got me more creative in the way that I shaped my song and the way that I recorded it, and I ended up creating something that I wouldn't have created if it wasn't for the limitations, really. So, yeah, I wrote a song to celebrate 10-year anniversary of my career. Found a sat that was mined that exact day, years before. And so I decided to create all these layers that, in my opinion, would give more value to the music and to the piece, to the artifact, really, and make it unique. You know, I could never do that if I put that song on Spotify. And I consider myself lucky because I can create songs with just a guitar and really kind of out of thin air create. The most important thing about a song for me is not the production, but it's the song. It's the lyrics and the melody and what it says. And these limitations allowed me to elevate that, my skills as a songwriter. So we compressed it to 340 kilobytes or so, full MP4, 2.5 minutes, and now it's up there.
That is awesome. And if you haven't heard Violetta performing over Twitter Spaces, you're missing out. She's incredible. So I want to go over to XC. You've been operating on Counterparty and Bitcoin for a while. Like, what's your experience been? Kind of, I was looking over your earliest collection on Bitcoin. I mean, you inscribed at 1,000 inscriptions. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I met Casey at the Bitcoin conference in 2022. I was doing the Bitcoin Renaissance Gallery, showing some pieces, and he came over and was just talking about ordinals and the theory behind it, and we started discussing it. And I said how putting an image on chain is kind of the holy grail for me, because I've been trying to figure out a way to do that, but it was just too expensive to do. And then a few months later, he's like, "Hey, I got something for you," and that's when I got with Nick from Luxor, and he helped me inscribe, and I had a whole collection that I've been working on since 2010, just kind of waiting for a moment to put this on chain, and I put my whole collection on there. So I have all 111 pieces on there now.
So I've never really dropped anything on Counterparty. What do you like about ordinals that maybe was missing from that ecosystem.
Yeah, so Counterparty is actually my first foray into Bitcoin art. In 2014, I was trying to figure out a way to use art in blockchain, and you had Counterparty, which let you make tokens. So I did an art project on there pretty early called the Scarab Experiment, and that was a mix between AI and almost a really early kind of artist DAO, where artists could submit work, and then I would take those pieces and combine them using an AI algorithm, and then create one piece that everybody kind of produced together. And it was supposed to be a way to kind of empower artists, which is what we saw when NFTs came about and we had royalties, which unfortunately have since gone away mostly. But with Counterparty, the difference between Counterparty and Ordinals is, for me, Counterparty, the image is not on chain. A lot of times it's pointing to an image that's either IPFS, as it is in the case for my assets, my artwork is IPFS, or just a URL that could go away if the server went down or what have you, if it wasn't maintained. So now with Ordinals, you could actually take the artwork and have it inscribed permanently. And for me, it's almost like the promise of what everybody thought NFTs originally were is finally come to fruition with Ordinals.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty elegant, right? It's a contained system. I explained to a lot of folks over Thanksgiving, kind of people who don't know anything about it, and it's just really cool. The data is on the same blockchain that the ownership is, and I just think it's a really beautiful and elegant solution. So XC, when drop?
Yeah. I got some things in the works, but nothing to announce here yet.
Yeah, no, there's a ton more inscription tools and services, but the OG move is to inscribe yourself on your own node.
Yeah, and right now the tech is really, the art is in service of the tech, but I think in the future you're going to see more where the tech is in service of the art. Almost, I come from a background of animation, and if you look at how animation started, it was really people using the tech, and it was kind of seen as almost like a little gimmicky thing. And nobody took Walt Disney seriously, right? Like when he was creating the animations, it was not like nobody saw the vision that he did, where it became this really big thing with a first full length animated feature. Everybody thought he was kind of crazy. So I think we'll have those kind of moments within the Ordinal ecosystem and on Bitcoin, and you'll see art kind of take a larger and larger stage where the tech kind of goes to the back but still does its thing.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the limitations are actually making people break them down and be more creative. And I love the intersection of just art and technology. Want to go over to Waxbones? You guys, you know his art because it's everywhere around here. He did all the key art for the Gamma Nolcha event. Incredible artist. Also was moonlighting on other chains up until this year. But yeah, I just want to, you've been thriving as an artist for years. You've been tokenizing your artwork on the Ethereum blockchain. What have you liked so far about Ordinals?
So this is where I'm going to come out as a fraud and say that
everyone's welcome. Bitcoin's for everyone.
Yeah, the only thing I've actually inscribed on Ordinals are the collector's tickets. So I was completely out of the loop on Bitcoin and Ordinals until Brett and Nick from Gamma got in touch and said, "Look, we've got this platform. Never heard of this platform. Barely know." Did
they like corner you in a room and?
Oh yeah, basically. Yeah. Brett had a gun to my head the whole process. So. No, they showed me what they were working on. They talked to me a little bit about Ordinals, and I'd seen it with some other projects. And I'm agnostic to whatever chain. I've dropped mainly on Ethereum, but I've played with Tezos, and Solana, and a few other things. So yeah, they said, "Do you want to be involved?" And I said, "Yeah. Let's work together on some prints." And they showed me their prints on Ordinals, which was a really cool way of creating editions in a way that I understood, coming from Ethereum. So I'm happy to be playing with Ordinals a bit more and playing within the confines of a very small file size, which is sometimes difficult for me because a lot of my animated stuff is frame by frame stuff, so the file size can be huge. But it's a nice challenge to play around and see what I can come up with.
I love that you say play, because that, for me, play is like a central theme in my work. It's so important. Everything is relationships, and play is just a way to explore and build on those relationships and create art. So
yeah, I think some people have an approach where they have this blockchain for this thing, or this platform, I only mint these sort of things on Super Rare, I only mint this sort of thing here, whereas I've literally just been throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks my whole NFT career.
I feel like that's every artist, right? You're just kind of doing your thing, whatever kind of flow you're in creating, and you never really know what you're going to get till it's created. So.
Exactly. So now I'm going to throw some shit at Ordinals and see what happens.
Love it. Yeah, man, I totally agree. I feel like Bitcoin just has pushed me in so many different places this year that I didn't foresee going, and it's actually made me better as an artist, I feel like. And you need that friction to create something that's meaningful, and I feel like it delivers that. So we've seen like fees spiking crazy. We don't have to talk about why, but do you think the cost to inscribe? Just kind of want to dive into this topic a little bit. Obviously, $5,000 or $10,000 for a 400 kilobyte image is a lot for someone who's, for artists, upfront capital. Do you think that makes what you inscribe more valuable? Another thing is the Bitcoin block space. When you think about it, there's only been 14 gigabytes inscribed all year. I mean, that is for $200 million fees. It's pretty remarkable. I would say like people are tripping over themselves to put data on Bitcoin. Just want to hear your thoughts. We could start with you, Violetta.
Yeah, to answer your question, does it make the piece, the art itself, more valuable? I don't know if it makes. I mean, it depends the way you look at it. In my opinion, it does, because it shows how much conviction there was from the artist's side. That artist really, really wanted it, and I feel like they wouldn't have done it for any of their art pieces. What I've learned with my career in Web3 is when you really believe in something, it's easier for others to believe in it as well when they really see your mission, the mission that you're on, and if you show that kind of financial commitment as well, I believe it's gonna make you more valuable as an artist. Yeah.
Do you guys hear that? You gotta love yourself before. Okay. Wax, what about you?
I mean, I don't know whether it makes it more valuable, or ultimately it's the collector that defines whether a piece is valuable or not. I think I agree with you. It shows a commitment to the piece and to yourself as an artist. I do see it at the moment as a barrier, particularly for new artists coming into Web3, when you can put something on Tezos as a testing ground for practically nothing. I can see that as being more attractive than having to pay $500. But then I started on Ethereum when before Ethereum 2.0, so gas was crazy money anyway, and so I think it's a similar situation as it was back then, that if you're committing to putting it on there, then it at least means something to the artist.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a full-time artist or something, you can't be paying $10,000 and then selling something for $1,000. You can't be doing that out here. But I find it's kind of pushed me more towards like, what can I do with code? What can I do with AI tools to kind of like tell my story in a different way? And I've found ways to use recursion, to use the data that's already been inscribed on Bitcoin with like one line of code, which will cost $4 with 300 sats per VByte. I just feel like there's a lot of clever solutions and ways to get your artwork on chain, and it's just been really fun exploring that. What are your thoughts, XC?
Yeah, with recursion, I think that's an interesting way to do it, and it makes it more affordable. But yeah, it is a space now that we're really just kind of just learning the value of the space in and of itself, even without the artwork on it, that the space has the value within the chain itself. So yeah, it is concerning, because you're not going to get more artists if it keeps going up and becoming more expensive, you're really going to only get artists that either have people that can back them and kind of pay that. Even if an artist believes in their work, $10,000 to get one of your images up it's just not sustainable from producing in that perspective.
Yeah, it seems like the demand is there. I feel like with this kind of, everyone's feeling good, crypto's up, Bitcoin's up 150% this year. There's bids at Sotheby's for shrooms for $50,000 plus. I feel like that does attract people to kind of take that risk, believe in themselves, put their artwork on chain. If you don't want to keep it forever and immortalize it, maybe don't choose Bitcoin. Choose something else. That's totally fine. Like you were saying, Waxbones, you could use the tools that are out there. I prefer Bitcoin for the reasons we've been discussing. Is it weird that your artwork might be around forever?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's going to outlive me. So, yeah, it's cool.
For me, that was always a draw to have it be almost immortalized, right? Like you want to leave a legacy that's going to last longer than you, and this is kind of a fun new way that's never been explored before. So just try to make it and see how long it'll last. As long as Bitcoin's around, it'll be here. So
yeah, I mean, you see these videos of these teenagers smashing paintings and galleries and stuff. That stuff's vulnerable. Yeah, I prefer to store it on Bitcoin. Yeah,
and I have a question, I guess, for Waxbones. How would you display the work, the Ordinal? Do you think the screen is best, or do you think they should maybe have them printed out to do the display? What do you think?
I think it depends on the piece, really. Sometimes screens accentuate colors and make things. Obviously, animated pieces work a lot better with screens, but the cost of having screens in your house to display your art is just, you can't do it unless you're making bank. So a lot of my pieces, particularly animated pieces, I've gone the AR route, and it's just printed a static image, a frame of the animation, and then you can use a free app to make it come to life. I think in 10 years' time, when screens become way more affordable, and you can have them in your house and you can interchange between the things in your wallet, then yeah, I think that's probably the best way. But until then, finding interesting solutions to that through AR or through the device that you already have in your pocket, I think is the way forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like a huge unlock for digital art. I don't like being too many clicks away. I want to see the art. So I do have a couple screens up at my house, and everyone comments on them oh, what's that? And just that kind of gets into the conversation of this is a piece that I own provably through this technology, and then their eyes glaze and they're yeah, okay, cool, Bitcoin. Okay.
But a lot of people, if you say that you're buying digital art and they can't see it physically, then it's a very confusing concept to a lot of people, particularly of kids that are buying digital things on Fortnite or whatever. They instantly get it. They can understand how buying an asset digitally is owned by you, but a lot of people don't quite understand it. So I think having that bridge between the physical, this is a print of something that I own digitally, it's like that stepping stone up to the point where digital assets.
It's a new social construct where people just need to be able to wrap their minds around it. And I mean, we'll get there eventually, but right now it's really either do your own research and figure it out, or you can bang your head against it all day long trying to explain it. But.
Yeah, I mean, digital ownership is still an abstract concept that majority of the world is still just trying to wrap their heads around and don't fully understand. And it's great.
Art, right? And I'm also representing non-visual art on this stage, and I feel like it's very important to remember. Sometimes I think about a song, right? A song, you can listen to it through speakers, right? Through your poetry, that. Does it really matter where it is displayed, or does it matter that that's the original manuscript or mine is the original master? So I really do think that the concept of displaying when it comes to digital art is almost like a next step, right? Really, because like you said, you put them in your house and people are like, okay, Like that's just a computer, you know? So I think it's kind of secondary. But what really matters is the provenance, the authenticity of it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And just looking at Bitcoin as a data layer, yeah, no, that's a great point.
How do you explain it to people when they say, I've listened to your song on Spotify? Or how do you explain that you've also put it onto Bitcoin and someone has bought it?
First of all, I don't put my songs on Spotify
Okay.
anymore. Because, well, I just tell them, you're borrowing this song when you listen to it on Spotify. It's not yours. It gives no value to you nor to me. It's not even the real version because the real version sits in my hard drive. Whereas if you listen to it or you own it through Bitcoin or even, Ethereum, that is the original copy, just like the original copy of a vinyl record, really. So.
All right, I think we're just about at time here, but yeah, just keep inscribing. Who in this room has inscribed something? Show of hands. Oh yeah, that's what we like to see.
Who in this room is an artist?
Fuck yeah, let's go. Well, it's going to be a fun week. I myself am looking forward to Casey and Raph putting more stuff on Bitcoin. Their time has come. All right.
Thank you.